I'm saying.
What's the scheme? That's all I'm asking. What's the scheme? You talk vaguely about revolution. What is it?
I think a socialist egalitarian system based on the massive redistribution of wealth, heavy taxation of corporations, and massive responsibility for energy companies and any companies exploiting the environment. I think they should be I think the very concept of profit should be hugely reduced. David Cameron says profit isn't a dirty word. I say profit is a filthy word, because wherever there is profit, there is also deficit. I think we do need to, there needs to be a centralised administrative system, but built on...
Isn't it amazing to watch that clip and see how Russel Brand, who now swims in right-wing, MAGA, anti-establishment, populist circles, would today be labeled a far-left Marxist, socialist, communist, authoritarian World Economic Forum agent looking to make everyone poor and enslaved by taking their wealth away while pushing the fake climate agenda. It really is fascinating to see what he's become now, and one of the reasons I made this channel is because I really am worried about the destabilizing effect that people like Russel Brand have and will continue to have on hundreds of thousands or millions of people. Combine that with foreign actors and foreign influence from foreign countries who are trying to sow chaos in our countries here in the West, this is going to be a tough issue to combat for the next long stretch of time. Become an awakened wonder. Not cult-like at all, by the way. Let's have some fun. I'm going to click through some random videos and let's see the type of things Russel Brand says. Keep in mind, Russel Brand says a lot without saying much of substance. Okay guys, let's scroll through and let's find a video we can click here of Russel Brand's. By the way, can I just point out, his faces in these thumbnails, he looks like those shady crackheads that approach you in San Francisco that he probably complains about all the time. San Francisco's fallen. Yeah, because people who look like you are approaching random people on the street. Anyways, Putin issues devastating warning to NATO if they even try it. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's watch Russel Brand's commentary on this to his almost 7 million subscribers. Let's watch his military strategy, shall we?
If we continue, and by we I mean NATO powers, to arm Ukraine to the degree where it threatens Russian sovereignty, it would lead to an all-out war with NATO. New missiles that are likely to be granted to Ukrainian fighting forces offer exactly that threat. Let me know in the comments and chat how you feel about this ongoing, escalating conflict, and whether or not you consider the prevention of nuclear war to be, in a sense, the most supreme priority that we could be addressing. Here is Vladimir Putin, presumably in Russian, saying that if there are attacks within Russia, it's all-out war.
So we start here with Russell talking about the US and NATO in general recently considering giving the green light for Ukraine to start using Western weapons to strike deep into Russia. Now, is nuclear conflict between Russia and NATO a worst case scenario for this war? Probably, yeah, of course. But what Russel Brand doesn't tell you when he makes these statements is that Putin and Russia have stated their red lines multiple times since the beginning of this war, and NATO has already crossed many of them, without much of a response from Russia as well. Hey Russell, how about you add some more nuance into these takes and give people some additional information with some of your statements? To dive a little bit deeper into the concept and issue of the red lines and NATO already crossing some of them, just because NATO has crossed some of them, does this indicate that NATO can assume Russia is completely bluffing with all the red lines and NATO can now order a Normandy-style invasion over Moscow? Of course not. However, in conflicts like this, red lines and bluffs are used to try and limit your enemy's confidence levels and to potentially limit them from pushing their strategic goals. Having no red lines would allow your enemy to much more freely impose whatever military strategy they have in mind. The United States and NATO likely already know that Moscow is bluffing with a lot of their red lines, but they have to carefully gauge how far can they go to assist Ukraine, because ultimately they also would not want to push too far when there's threats of nuclear annihilation being tossed around. However, if the United States and NATO did what Russel Brand and his crowd of anti-establishment populists wanted, they would have handed Ukraine to Russia nicely wrapped in a box with a bow right at Putin's front door. Now, I don't know exactly what Russia's response will be if America does give the green light to send missiles deeper into Russia. Now, Russel Brand will bring up a clip of Justin Trudeau, and I'm no fan of Justin Trudeau, but let's see how good old Russel Brand is going to respond to this clip and Trudeau's commentary on this. Is Russel Brand going to have a reasonable take? Is he going to use nuance and information to back any of his statements? Let's see.
Putin says Russia will be at war with NATO if Ukraine uses long-range missiles deep into Russia. How far into Russia do you think Ukraine should be able to strike?
Vladimir Putin is striking regularly in the heart of Ukraine. He's sending missiles and bombs at hospitals.
And if he's doing it, then why shouldn't we do it? He who smelt, it's not fart. He who smelt it, dealt it. He who
Denied it, supplied it. This is a nuclear attack, Justin.
Yeah, fantastic joke and commentary, Russell.
Daycare centers at families and communities across Ukraine, and it was his choice. His choice.
He started it, and I actually quite like talking in this cadence. Mate, this is the reason I actually got into politics, because I never really felt good enough about myself, but when I'm talking like this, I feel a lot better, even if the consequences of the rhetoric I'm deploying is actually, well, everybody in the world dies, but I'll still have my haircut.
This is the man, ladies and gentlemen, who has close to 7 million subscribers and influences hundreds of thousands to millions per week. Imagine someone like Russel Brand influencing the minds of hundreds of thousands or millions of people through his platforms, causing people to vote for candidates based on his ramblings and mediocre comedy from his channel where he tries to give the truth.
His choice to start this conflict, and it could be his choice to end it tomorrow. All he has to do is pull back his troops into Russian territory. But he won't do that. He is not just trying to remove any choice that Ukrainians have around where they want their future to go, remove their independence, remove their sovereignty. He's trying to deeply destabilize the international rules-based order that protects us all, not just in every democracy around the world, but in all countries around the world. Any country with a neighbor with a slightly larger army should be worried if it suddenly becomes allowed to invade and redraw lines on the map.
The international rules-based order, does that sound a lot like the New World Order? Does that sound a lot like globalism? Does that sound like the kind of lawfare where any political leaders that oppose globalism find themselves either dead or in jail? Does that sound like the kind of globalism that's opposed to agriculture, precisely because decentralized farming of any kind means that there would be food supplies available in the event of further centralized authority being taken? Is it the same global rules-based order that seems hell-bent on censoring every single word we say, unless those words are words of praise towards this very same global rules-based order? What an extraordinary man Justin Trudeau is. How clever they are to dress up their new authoritarians like faded boy band members. Macron, Trudeau, Starmer, great hair, shame about the Armageddon. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat? Remember, if you're not awake and wonder yet, consider becoming one. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, ensure...
Oh my god, listen to this absolute rambling. Justin Trudeau here mentions the word international order, and that immediately breaks Russell's brain and sends him into insanity. Instead of responding to Justin Trudeau's point on how Vladimir Putin might be threatening the international rules-based order regarding countries invading and taking over sovereign territory, he takes the word international order, okay, and starts listing off a bunch of words that in his mind are connected but not relevant to Justin Trudeau's point. New World Order, globalism, agriculture, decentralization, censorship. The reason Russel Brand doesn't respond to Justin Trudeau's point regarding the international order, that specific point, and just starts rambling off a string of sentences is because he has no idea how to respond with anything besides words that triggers the brains of his audience in order to capture their interest. The string of sentences Russell just said reminds me of a caricature of a leftist on a college campus created by some conservatives hearing a word, and it immediately sends them into a spiral where they start shouting off racist, sexist, xenophobic, generational trauma, or any other words that come to their mind. Again, I want you to notice how in this whole video, Russel Brand didn't use any research to bring up any of his points. He didn't use any thought process to come to his conclusions. All he did was crack a few jokes and then use some buzzwords that are popular amongst the MAGA conspiracy right wing. That's literally it. Okay, let's watch another video for fun, shall we? This one is titled Bill Maher Makes Jordan Peterson Go Quiet when he admits this about the left.
There's a lot of people in this country who are tired of the hate and the hating, and I am one of them. I don't want to hate half the country, and I don't hate half the country. I would never vote for Trump, and I think he's an abomination. And Kamala, you know.
The clip that Russell shows in this video, which is a podcast with Bill Maher and Jordan Peterson, is not Jordan Peterson going quiet. Jordan Peterson is literally, I kid you not, just listening to Bill Maher talk and waiting to respond. You know, like how normal conversations go. But of course, Russell will immediately try to mislead and frame the conversation a certain way before you click on the video, so your mind is primed to feel a certain way about the clips he shows.
On MSNBC, 72 million Trump supporters have just been referred to as narcissists. It's indeed the mainstream that is the place that houses most contentious and more extreme views. Only, perhaps, on MSNBC would you have a pundit saying Donald Trump and his supporters are narcissists, which is a pretty serious condition, actually. It's adjacent to being a straight up and down psychopath.
Listen to this absolute clown. He thinks that only on mainstream media will you hear crazy things. Listen to what he just said here. Only perhaps on MSNBC would you have a pundit saying that Donald Trump and his supporters are narcissists, which is a pretty serious condition, mate, actually adjacent to being a straight up and down psychopath. Unreal. What an unbelievably stupid statement. Yeah, Russell, there's no way people on alternate media could say things as crazy as that sentence.
The whole world, we will uncover what you've done. We will make sure everyone knows, and you will be held accountable for it.
Not just jail, they should get the... we actually used to have the punishment for treason in this country.
What I'd say is that when there have been pretty regular assassination attempts now, relatively regular, there's been a couple of them, no sense that they're going to dry up anytime soon. And all of the information is either immediately extracted and scrubbed, or the information that's available in the case of the second assassination attempt is highly evocative and suspicious.
Rambling, that's all this is. The assassination attempts on Trump, the info being scrubbed on the first attempt and suspicious on the second one. Remember, guys, we're watching Bill Maher talk about something not related to this.
Trump, I think, will go away. After this, I think he's kind of finally reached his Joe McCarthy stage where it's like people are tired of it. It just took longer. But Trumpism won't go away.
Bill Maher made a point that he believes Donald Trump will lose, okay? And he will be gone after this election, meaning he won't run again. Now, that seems like a very simple and easy thing to understand for everyone not named Russel Brand and his awakened wonders. So what's Russel Brand's reaction and response?
Isn't that extraordinary? But at this point, what is the information that's permissible? Like, if we want to extract Trump from the conversation because he is the font and cause of all incendiary discourse and all cultural conflict, then what is it that Antony Blinken requires of us? As he suggests, a global censorship campaign to pressure countries into censoring Russian media.
Now we're talking about Antony Blinken and Russia Today. Do you see what I mean by what Brand does here? This is his bread and butter. He throws out different things, tries to connect them, and ends up making you feel either confused or the little things or words he says to try to connect everything together. He wants you to feel like it's constantly reinforcing the narrative he tries telling you. We started this with Bill Maher talking about Trump and how he thinks Trump's going to lose and how Trumpism will be gone after the election, in his opinion. Okay, and we're ending on Russel Brand talking about Blinken's recent statement on Russia Today and their operations. What on earth does that have to do with what Bill's talking about?
Do we want less conversation and more censorship right when it seems that Trump is the candidate, certainly in this election, that is most likely to facilitate peace between Russia and Ukraine?
Yeah, Russell, that's it. Good job, buddy. This is all part of a plot, because if we can censor RT, Trump supporters or independents are less likely to believe that Trump is the only one who can stop the war. Is that what he's implying? Again, it's just a lot of different buzzwords that he's trying to use. We're talking about Trump, Trumpism. We're talking about how he's going to be gone. We're talking about censorship. We're talking about Russia Today. We're talking about Trump and Ukraine and broken a peace deal with Russia because Russia has Russia Today. Antony Blinken made a statement, and Antony Blinken is somebody who does censorship. And you see how all these things just kind of jumble together, and he just uses buzzwords to try to create some sort of narrative. I really do believe that this man here is bad for our society and the West at large. And the amount of influence he has is dangerous. Thank you everybody for watching this video. If you ended up enjoying, hit the like button, subscribe for more content similar to this, and leave some comments in the comment section down below on any of your thoughts on this video, Russel Brand, some of his commentary, what you think about him. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a great week. Peace.